Iran conducted ballistic missile launches across the country. The IRGC conducted these missile tests in several cities across the country using various types of missiles, including some new models, according to an Iranian correspondent. Now, I'm sure some Zionists are saying, new missile? No, they used up all their missiles. They don't have any new missiles. The Iranians were quite clear after the 12-day war. They said only 25% of their so-called advanced missile technologies were actually shown in the 12-day war, which means 75% of the advanced technologies, far more advanced technologies, I'm sure in some cases, actually have yet to be used on the battlefield. Before we discuss the live missile tests that were done in Iran today, I want to show you this because even though the U.S. military is effectively off the coast of Iran, right? They are near the Strait of Hormuz, Gulf of Oman, and the Iranian military is also out and about, and there's drones overhead, there's Poseidon overhead. Iranian fishermen are just out there hanging out in the middle of the sea. An Iranian fisherman in the Persian Gulf was filming himself talking to an American warship via radio, telling it to raise the Iranian flag. The fisherman keeps contacting the warship and taunting it. In the end, the IRGC Navy tells the fisherman, bro, please stop talking to the warship. So I love that. It's just like Iranians. They have no fear. They have no fear. You know, the U.S. just spent months on end airstriking Venezuelans and Colombians and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who are on fishing boats. And the Iranians are out there, not only on fishing boats in the midst of what could be a major war about to unfold, they're also radioing into the American warship saying, raise the Iranian flag, bitches. And then the IRGC has to call them off and be like, bro, okay, you did it. You're a patriot. We understand. Okay. It shouldn't be surprising that these Iranian fishermen don't care. They have a very strong military behind them. They have a very strong country and people behind them. And that was all made very evident today. Iranian Revolutionary Guard drone has been conducting patrols for 3 hours over the southern Chabahar and Sea of Oman. Now, these drone patrols have been going on for several days. We have been reporting each of the major drone patrols. And on the first day that the USS Abraham Lincoln arrived in the region in the Gulf of Oman, we saw that American and Iranian drones were actually both flying at the same time. Now, what are these Iranian drones doing? It's quite simple. These are reconnaissance drones, and they are mapping out where the U.S. ships are going, what they're doing, where they're located, what they may be preparing. They don't care about how many, it's not about, I don't know what these U.S. Navy, these young U.S. Navy personnel think, but maybe they think the Iranian shahheads above them are just interested in what they're eating for lunch or how many times they go to the bathroom on the USS Abraham Lincoln. But no, they're preparing for, in fact, all possibilities, which do, of course, include targeting these warships. U.S. aircraft carriers can sink just like every ship on the face of the planet, right? Just like the Titanic. So that's what these Iranian drones are doing. Now, here is where we get into the meat and potatoes of today's big news. Iran conducted ballistic missile launches across the country. These, of course, were not any sort of active, military strikes. These were nothing more than drills, exercises, tests. But these were, in fact, very large-scale missiles being launched. We don't know which exact missiles were being launched, but you do know they were launched. I say my general rule of thumb as we watch and wait and see what happens in Iran is, don't believe anyone who's going to definitively tell you that, the war is starting and today, tomorrow, in 3 hours, in 72 hours, the war is going to be. Don't believe any of that stuff. The only thing you should believe really is one of those Khorramshahr missiles headed at like 6,000 miles at a specific target, south of Iran. That's the only thing you can believe when you see a video of that. 6,000 miles per hour Khorramshahr missile headed to a specific target. That is the only thing you can believe. These, however, yes, they were big missiles, but no, they were not headed at a enemy belligerent. They were headed somewhere where they could fire a missile and it would be tested. That's what's going on. All right, so the IRGC conducted these missile tests in several cities across the country using various types of missiles, including some new models, according to an Iranian correspondent. Now, I'm sure some Zionists are saying, new missile? No, they used up all their missiles. They don't have any new missiles. The Iranians were quite clear after the 12-day war. They said only 25% of their so-called advanced missile technologies were actually shown in the 12-day war, which means 75% of the advanced technologies, far more advanced technologies, I'm sure in some cases, actually have yet to be used on the battlefield. So yes, Iran does have a lot of tricks up their sleeve if you are to take these officials at their word and believe that a nation like Iran, very technologically advanced nation like Iran, has the capability to do this, which obviously they do. And some of these new models were reportedly tested today. Here are some more photos. These should terrify the United States. These should terrify the Israelis. As we reported yesterday, for the first time, we now have Iranian domestically produced satellites up in orbit, and they have been able to show us the damage that was done and still remains actually at Nevatim Air Base, the so-called most secure air base in the world. Lots of damage done to the Nevatim Air Base Command and Control Center, the missile silos at Nevatim Air Base. And this is still unrepaired in many cases. So that Iranian satellite was launched with the help of Russia. It was launched from Russian soil on an Russian launcher, but it was an Iranian domestically produced drone. And they now allow the Iranians to see exactly what is going on and how much damage they did in the 12-day war. So I say yes, the Israelis should be freaking out. Also, for the first time, the Shahid Abu Mahdi Al-Mohandes type land to sea missiles were used in a simulation of an attack on a naval target. So we talked a little bit about these yesterday, but we did not have clarification whether or not they had been tested yet. These are one of the new missiles that Iran has produced, and they fly just above sea level. All right. So just a few meters above sea level, these missiles fly. And what does that do? It means that they're very, very difficult to identify on any sort of satellite or radar systems or GPS systems, anything like that. And these would be used to target, U.S. naval assets. OK, that's why you had the IRGC Navy and the Iranian Navy coming out and saying things like, look, you guys will find out that U.S. aircraft carriers sink like just every other ship on the face of the planet if you decide to threaten us in a way that, requires us to respond in kind. And these are what are in all likelihood going to be utilized to do that. So this, we don't have footage of. This was done over the sea, but this is indicative that not only are live tests going on land with large-scale missiles, we also have these sea-based tests, which are taking, I guess these are land to sea, but we have sea-based simulations, which are also ongoing. Now, tonight, it is nighttime now in Iran, I believe, 30 minutes? So it's like, 10:14 p.m. in Iran? But right now, by the way, you would not expect to see a U.S. attack yet. Probably in about, 3 to 5 hours, maybe you could expect to see an attack if one takes place tonight. But let's see, time in Tehran now, it's 11 It's 11:15, my mistake. So it's 11:15 in Tehran. So, several hours, I guess you could expect to see an attack take place if one did take place, maybe between midnight or probably 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. I'm not saying I think that's going to happen tonight. I actually think that's unlikely that it will happen tonight. Iranian fighter jets have been reported flying and conducting patrols along the western flank near the Iranian-Iraqi border. Also, drones have been spotted in the skyline. So Iran is on full alert. They have their air defense on full alert. The metro stations are prepared and equipped with essential supplies for bomb shelters. They have also converted a lot of parking lots into bomb shelter, effective, bomb, I guess. I don't know if you can call it a shelter or safe space, maybe, because hopefully, they wouldn't just bomb like a parking lot full of civilians. But I wouldn't put anything past them, right? They've bombed airports, they've bombed hotels, they've bombed embassies, they've bombed just about everything you can bomb. Refugee camps. So this is what is currently ongoing in Iran. And I do want to add that today there was a lot of fake news going around by the Zionists. There was a gas explosion in Bandar Abbas, and it was just a gas explosion. It was like some, municipal civilian gas explosion that took place. There was a police officer standing nearby that I think was injured or died in the explosion. I think there were several people who died, but it was a gas leak explosion. The Iranians say nothing nefarious. Israel denies any involvement. They're not taking credit for it. So everyone seems to kind of be under the impression of the same thing, that that was just like a random occurrence. But of course, a lot of Zionist social media hacks went online and said, this is one of our Mossad operatives. They said, trying to take credit for it, but they were sharing fake news that it was I saw Mario Naval sharing stuff saying an Iranian Navy HQ was there nearby at Bandar Abbas where this gas explosion took place, and trying to pass off there was a police officer who died or was injured, and he was in uniform, right? So they tried to say it was an Iranian Navy HQ, but actually people zoomed in on the photo of his uniform he was wearing, and it was just like a typical police uniform. So, they're preying on the stupidity and the ignorance of people that don't know the difference between a police uniform and a Navy uniform and trying to pass it off as Russia the latter. Also, there was fires outside of Tehran, but it was in a grassy field, and I forget exactly what happened here, but again, the Zionists were trying to say first Bandar Abbas, now there's smoke near Tehran. It actually ended up just being like a fire in an empty field, and there's nothing there. There's nothing going on there. So lots of fake news as the tensions rise. So don't be fooled by that. And, focus on who's been giving you the truth this whole time. Don't listen to some random fake Iran account that's based in who knows where sharing some BS news, right? Because it's probably nothing more than that. It probably is BS. Okay. So that's the state of play. Lots of missiles fired today. New missiles fired today. The Zionists, I'm sure, are the ones who are shitting their pants, not the Iranians. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.